Steven, what are you doing in my office?
Nothing.
What is that keyboard?
Perfect.
We're gonna have a problem here. This is my friend Steven. Just like you, he wants to get into building custom keyboards. Why? Because they look cool, sound cool, and feel cool. And also because he has the dirtiest keyboard I've ever seen in my life. Now, I'm gonna be showing you how to build your first custom keyboard, and the best part is it's budget friendly. But what Steven doesn't know is I'm gonna be making him build this keyboard entirely by himself.
What?
And along the way, I'm gonna be going through some of the mistakes he makes. That way, you can build the best keyboard possible. Also, I'm gonna show you how to make your keyboard way better in under an hour. So stick around for that.
This is my first and only ever gaming keyboard.
Your first.
My first from 9 years ago.
This keyboard is older than most of you watching this video. Okay, probably not. Now, in order to get Steven his new custom keyboard, I'm gonna have to also walk you through building your first custom keyboard. Before we get to the chaos of the video, let's set some expectations of how you're gonna build this keyboard. Now, the first thing you need when building a keyboard is obviously a keyboard. And then we're gonna get to the keycaps, the switches, and most importantly, the lube. Lube. There's some lube. Now, if you're a beginner at home, you probably literally know where to start. Now, I always recommend we first start with the keyboard. So, Steven, I'm gonna have you try out a lot of different keyboards. You at home probably can't try out a lot of different keyboards, so I recommend walk into your local Best Buy, say howdy hey, and then just try out a bunch of those keyboards. You don't have to buy any of them, just try them out. See what type of keyboard you like. Now, before we get Steven a fully custom keyboard, let's just give him a new Razer keyboard to try out. Maybe he'll just be happy with Razer now and really won't want a custom keyboard and I can send him home. But that's probably not gonna work. I've got this Razer Black Widow Tournament Edition, the new version of your current keyboard. Tell me, do you feel a difference?
No. It's the same thing.
Has Razer gotten better?
It's like the exact same. It looks better. It sounds almost the exact same though.
So what's the verdict here?
We're gonna need a different keyboard.
We're gonna need a different keyboard. We have a lot of keyboards on the floor here, and I'm going to have Steven try every single one. We've got tactile switches, linear switches, no clicky switches. And we're gonna figure out which one that he likes the best. Let's start with the original and see, let's get a baseline.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Impeccable, right?
Oh, that space bar.
I need you to try every one of these keyboards real fast.
Ooh, that sounds nice. This one's a little bit more like hollowy than this one.
Now that you've tried a couple different tactile switches, a couple different linear switches, what are you leaning towards?
This guy right here feels
really
amazing.
Ooh,
it's so
absolutely
nice.
Smooth linears.
These are good, but they're missing a numpad.
What do you mean a numpad?
Like to do your bank work on.
What are numpads? I don't know what numpads are.
It's like the whole rest of the keyboard that this is missing.
I've built hundreds of keyboards. I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's not even a real keyboard.
A numpad? What? So it appears that Steven really likes this weird thing on the right side of his keyboard, which thoroughly limits our options on what keyboards we can pick out. Now, you at home, you can pick the keyboard layout that you like the most. Most people gravitate towards a 75% that looks like this. No, that's Steven's face. Project the keyboard editor, thank you. That looks like this.
Because they're wrong.
Which is just, in my opinion, like one of the best keyboard layouts. But if you need a numpad, then that limits your options quite a lot, especially as far as customs go. So for Steven's keyboard, I had to get back to the drawing board. And by back to the drawing board, I mean my closet of doom. Oh, look, a keyboard on the floor right over here that was sent to me by Keychron. There you go.
Thanks.
Your keyboard's done. End of the video, roll credits.
Cut.
Now, because there really aren't that many options for a full-size keyboard, we decided to go with the Keychron Q6. Now, the Keychron Q6 is one of the best customizable full-size budget-ish keyboards, and I'll have it linked down below, but I'll get into more of the specs as to why I chose it later. This keyboard starts at $176. What do you think about it?
It's just a little bit nicer than my keyboard. Just a tiny little bit.
Just a little bit nicer?
Maybe just like a tiny bit.
Maybe like some metal?
I mean, yeah, maybe just a little bit nicer.
As you might have noticed, it's fully bare bones, meaning there's no switches, no keycaps, and kind of stabilizers in here, kind of. We'll get into that in a second. Well, first, let's see if there's any other accessories in the box.
There's a cable.
A cable is actually a great touch because if you don't have a cable and this is your first keyboard, that's really important.
Not gonna work. There's a little piece of foam.
These are just replacement parts, basically.
Okay.
And then that's it. And that's it for all of the accessories.
I think there's something.
Wait. There's something under it. What the? Hold on, what? There's like, has this been in every Keychron board that I've ever built has had these and I've...
Got a little baby screwdriver.
Oh no. Now, for the first step, generally, I lube the stabilizers. However, on this board, these stabilizers are already pre-installed and already kind of factory lubed. So we're just gonna fine tune them later, provided they aren't bad. Hopefully. So that leaves us with the first step of building the keyboard, actually. And if you picked out your keyboard at home, the next step is the switches. Now, we already tested out a bunch of switches, so we're just gonna have to refine that and pick one specifically. So we've narrowed it down to 2 different linear switches. The first being these really kind of sus switches that I found on Amazon that are actually remarkably good. And the second being the ever so popular JWIC Speeds. Now, if you're super new to keyboards at home, let me very quickly go over the different types of switches. There's linear, which are smooth when you press them down. There's tactile, which have a little bit of a bump. And then there's clicky, which make an audible click every time you press them. For all of these switches, there's different types of spring weights and heaviness, so they could feel more heavy to press down or super light to press down. And this ultimately means that there's a lot of confusion for buying your first switch. Generally, I think that most people will be okay with a linear switch, and some people will really like the bump of a tactile switch. This is where I kind of recommend going into a Best Buy or something like that, or maybe ordering one of those switch testers from Amazon or something like that. Just find a switch that you think you'll like. But the question in keyboard land is preference. So which do you prefer?
They're both really, really nice.
But you have to pick one.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Flip a coin.
I guess.
Let's try this one. Let's try the JWIC Speeds.
All right, we're gonna try them out. And if we don't like them, because this board is hot swap, we can actually switch those switches out at any time without needing to desolder. This makes it incredibly beginner friendly because you can try out a bunch of switches, maybe buy them and then return them to Amazon. Who cares about Jeff Bezos? And figure out which one you like the most. Let's go ahead and get these switches started. But first, we actually have to build it. So let's get started by putting in the switches. Do you know how to do that?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay. So as I mentioned before, this keyboard is hot swappable. So literally all you have to do is take your switches over here, take one, boop, 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 and you're just gonna put it in your keyboard. Wait, I'm not supposed to help you. Sorry.
I'm gonna put it in my keyboard. Boop.
Wait, was that it? You did it?
That was it. I did it.
You're very smart. Do you watch Hipyo Tech videos?
I do watch Hipyo Tech videos.
Hey!
Every single one.
He watches Hipyo Tech videos.
All I know is that you're supposed to only use spray lube.
He does not watch Hipyo Tech videos. So you know how earlier, Steven, I mentioned something called lube?
I do.
Do you like lube?
I love lube.
In keyboards?
Oh, sure.
Do you even know what we're doing here?
Building a keyboard.
Yes, exactly. We're building a keyboard. It was not an innuendo. To make switches sound better, keyboard switches, the things that make click, clack, thocky, thok, those guys, we put lube in them. Sometimes we get switches that have been lubed from the factory, but sometimes we have to do it ourselves. In the honor of being a good spirit, I'm gonna make you lube a switch by yourself. But it's easy, and you two at home can also follow along.
Just use spray lube.
No! So if you're a total beginner, here's how you lube your first switch. Step 1, take your switch. You also need a switch opener, a brush, and some lube. Personally, I use Krytox 205 grade 0. I'll have everything linked down below. Then you take your switch and you make sure that the little 4 guys on the sides, if you have a cherry style switch, the 4 guys on the sides need to line up with these 4 guys. If you have a different clamshell looking switch, you just need to make sure that the clamshell openings line up with this guy. Then Steven, what do? You link them up.
Why won't it go? Bam,
and
beautiful.
Then press down. Now pry it open a bit.
Hey!
Yay, you did it. You opened a switch.
I broke it.
In a good way though.
In a good way.
In a good way. You've got your stem, you've got your spring, and your bottom housing and top housing. All you want to do when you're lubing a switch is get an even amount of lube on the parts that make the most contact, that being the stem and the spring. Anyways, we're gonna experimentally lube this guy. Step 2, to actually lube your switch, you take your brush and you get a light layer of Krytox on both sides. If you can see the lube on your brush like a physical glob, that means you've got too much. So just make sure it's a smooth layer. Then you take your brush and you grab the stem side of the stem, and then you want to just use the brush on every contact point, like the slider, outside of the slider and the inside of the slider.
Is that it?
Yep, basically. But just make sure you've evenly coated both sides and the legs if it's a linear switch. Just want a light layer of lube. And then for the spring, a little bit trickier. You need to get lube on the spring, right? So you can kind of just hold the spring and then like lube it with the brush like that. Ooh, that's, oh God, that's...
I thought you said this wasn't supposed to be an innuendo.
Wait. But you just want the whole thing covered in a light layer of lube.
This is gonna be a mess.
Yes. Then you just assemble it back. Okay, now test her out. Now test it out compared to a regular one.
I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, so this is where we run into some issues. If your switch is factory lubed well enough, nowadays you kind of don't need to hand lube a switch, but we could do another 110, right?
For sure, yeah.
Well, I'll add it on screen if we did.
You're basically the exact same.
There's no difference. Now it's time to put in all of the switches. You already put in one switch, so on the Hipyo Tech channel, let's just do the thing that we normally do, which is magic. Please go leave a comment and say, very good magic, Hipyo and Steven, great magic, so good. Leave a comment down below, thank you so much. And then here we go, ready?
I've seen this done.
Yeah, do it.
Ready?
Wow, magic.
I like the magic, it's a lot easier than putting them in.
Yeah,
one by one.
That was so easy.
And taking a really long time.
Using all the magic, put all these switches on. Yeah, so good. Now that we've put all of the switches in your keyboard, it's time for the next part. The part that makes every keyboard build a little bit unique. It's the keycaps. Let's just come into the closet with me. In my closet, I have like 50 sets of keycaps. It's not a problem. I'm gonna have Steven just look at a bunch of them as if he was like online, browsing on the internet, like you would be looking at different keycap sets. If you're at home, I suggest you just Google cool keycap sets and kind of pick one that looks cool to you. Oh, you found some. So it looks like we've got something from Drop and something from Kinetic Labs.
Now, one thing to note when picking your keycap sets at home is you just need to make sure that it fits the layout of your keyboard. This can kind of be done by comparing pictures of your keyboard to the pictures of the keycaps that are included. Some things to look out for are maybe the right shift being the same size and also included in the kit with your keycaps. As long as the keycap kit is relatively big though, it should cover most keyboards, but you can always join a keyboard Discord like mine, linked down below, for some help.
So we've got two keycap sets here. We've got Polycap's Whale and DCX 9009 from Drop. What a fun name, right?
It's Whale and whatever the other one you said was.
9009, of course.
Good old 9009.
So between the two, we've got green and gray and blue and gray. What do you prefer?
I think I like the green and gray.
We're gonna go with the green and gray.
With the super cool name.
DCX 9009, check it out, link down below. Now you already have a keycap on.
Hey.
So let's just go ahead and put the rest on with a little bit of magic. Do you want to do the magic honors again, or do you want me to do them?
Let's see some Hipyo.
Okay. This is certified Hipyo Tech magic. Ready? Wow, look at that magic. You actually just built the keyboard. It's done now. But wait, Steven, plug in the keyboard.
Whoa. It's RGB?
It's RGB. Epic
True gamer mode.
Gamers.
Now, Steven has finished the keyboard, but there's gonna be a huge problem with it that we'll check out soon. Ultimately, we're gonna need to mod this, and this is where I'm gonna teach you how to make your keyboard better in just under an hour. So stick around.
What are your thoughts?
Definitely a small bit better than definitely a tiny itty bitty, tiny little bit better than the Razer.
Is it amazing?
Like a bajillion times better than the Razer. It doesn't sound like it wants to kill me.
Does it feel smooth?
It feels real smooth.
But you know what I think? I think it sucks.
Oh.
And we could do better.
Aw.
Because there's still just a few mods that we could do to this keyboard to make it so much better. I'm thinking tape, force break, something else that I haven't thought of yet. It's gonna be crazy. So let's just cut to it. Open it. Wow, this keyboard already has this interesting little like film on it. I don't know why they put this weird metallic film on it. I can't even peel it, but it's there. And there's also this very thin foam. Nowhere near enough. So first what we're gonna do is the force break mod. We're gonna be putting some tape along here because hear how pingy this is? We want it to not be a blacksmith anvil. Let's just fix that. Now, Steven, I have one secret to making a keyboard sound good 100% of the time. What is that secret? Tape. Now with this tape, we can do a couple different things. Step one, the force, please don't eat it. The force break mod. We're going to cut tiny little pieces of tape. Basically, we're breaking the metal on metal in between the two.
With the force.
With the force, yeah, the force of tape. This is gonna reduce the ping in a Keychron board tenfold. The board should sound infinitely better via this one tiny little trick. It sounds like one of those scams to get you to like buy some weird supplement or something, but no, it's actually just buy my electric tape. electrictape.com/Hipyo Tech. That's a joke, that's not a real link.
Affiliate link in the description.
If you're following along at home, you literally just take like one of these small cuts of tape, whatever is going on here, I'm not too sure about, and then you just place them around the screw holes like so. Like that's tape, you can't see it, but there's tape there and tape there. That's good. On the bottom part of the case. Okay, all done?
Pretty much.
Now that the force break mod is done, it's time to do something else with the tape. See the tape? You see that? That's a PCB. You've watched the Hipyo Tech channel before, right?
Am I taping the entire thing?
You're doing the tape mod.
Tape mod.
To make our board a little bit poppier, maybe just a tinge deeper, we're going to put 2 layers of electric tape along the whole back of the board.
What do we do with that?
We're just gonna cut the tape around it. So we're not gonna put some over the wires. So once you've got the 2 layers of tape on, you basically just want to super press it down. That way you can create almost like a vacuum seal. And that's kind of what gives you that like filtery sound from the mod. Would you look at that? It's a tape mod. And now the final step for making your keyboard sound good, the kill mat.
We have to kill Matt.
No, don't kill Matt, we love Matt. This is an automotive dampening mat. Now, you're not a car, are you?
No.
But you're also not a keyboard.
No.
So you're gonna cut this to size to fit your keyboard, and then we're gonna stick it to it to make it sound really good.
Just dampen me since I am a car?
Yeah. Me when I'm a car.
Dampened.
Yeah, one good way to cut it to size would be use the foam as a template, and then you can cut along.
And try your darndest.
Try your darndest. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, if you're off by a millimeter or two, who's gonna know? Because it's in your keyboard case.
That's fair. Boop. I go.
So we're gonna remove this film, which is kind of a silly little film, but don't crumple it after you remove it because we might want it later. And now we're just gonna peel off the back of this.
And then stick her down in there.
And then stick her down.
Now with the kill mat installed, it's time to get a little bit crazy. We're gonna try to fit in as much stuff as possible. This little sheet, get in there. The extra foam that was included, get in there. My theory is that if we stuff this thing to the brim, the gaskets already weren't good. Yeah, scissors. We'll get rid of as much ping as possible, which is my favorite way to mod a Keychron board.
Shove stuff inboard.
Shove everything in the board. Now, let's see, moment of truth. Will it actually fit together?
I mean, I think it just closed. It fits.
It's gonna be a tough screw. Yeah, let's try it. Flip it over, pinch it a bit, and then we'll try and screw it. Because that's your moment of truth. If you can actually get it to screw together.
There's gonna be a slight gap all the way around the keyboard.
No, wait. No, if there's a slight gap around the whole keyboard.
It's actually, I think it's pretty flush.
Wait, no, it's like flush.
It's not bad.
That's impressive. I didn't think there was that much space in this little bad boy.
There's gonna be gasket performance? What's gasket performance?
We don't need gaskets where we're going. You didn't want a gaskety keyboard, did you? The moment of truth. Does it feel like a keyboard?
Oh my gosh.
Wait, that sounds so much better.
That sounds amazing compared to how it sounded before.
That sounds so much. That took us, what, like 30 minutes?
Like 30 minutes.
And it sounds like 3-4 times better?
That sounds so nice.
Let me feel it. Oh my God, the ping is gone. All right, class, here's why you mod your keyboards. This basic Keychron keyboard, we took it from sounding like good, well, better than the Razer, for sure, without a doubt.
It's not hard to do.
To like, hey, how's it going, Mr. Keyboard?
Sounds pretty good.
It sounds really good. And that was with kill mat, tape, and tape. That's all you need. If you're building your keyboard at home, please make sure you mod it.
But now that Steven's built his keyboard, it's time to reflect on things. Was it worth it? Does he recommend it?
Steven, you just built your first keyboard.
I did.
What did you think?
It wasn't that bad.
Was it fun?
It was actually a lot of fun.
Somebody said it was fun! Somebody said it was fun, we did it! All it took was like 5 videos with 5 different friends They finally said it was fun. Yes! Well, that just goes to show you that building a keyboard is fun and easy.